Okay, now we're going to start working on some more of this car being it rained. This is a hydraulic motor that was on it. It's a roXdawg 2-speed variable or 2-speed hydraulic motor. Produces about 100 foot-pounds of torque, and it is has come out, and all the pulleys and drive mechanism has come off, and this is what's going on next. It is that is basically a 1.9 cubic inch displacement. It displaces 1.9 cubic inches of oil per revolution. This is a 6-inch displacement, but it's also a variable speed bent axis hydraulic motor. When it's all the way slowed down, it's 6 inches. When it's in high speed, it's 1.9 cubic inches. So it should give me basically a variable transmission. The hydrostat's variable, the motor's variable. So it's not just a 2-speed in and out. So, and I should have, this will put out a little over 500 foot-pounds of torque at startup, which should give me enough torque to run a direct drive. I am going to belt drive it, or not belt drive it, well, eventually belt drive it. Initially it's going to be chain driven with like a double 60 roller chain, just to make sure a 1-to-1 works. If I need a little more, I can actually gear it down with the chain and get it dialed in. When I get it dialed in, I will then go to a carbon fiber belt, which will be quieter, and this will turn 3600 RPM at top speed. So I'll be able to keep it somewhat quiet and smoother. The chain really chains don't like going at 3600 RPM, but it'll allow me to test it cheaply to get the right ratio. Hopefully 1-to-1 will work out. Come on in a little closer. This is a taper lock, a QD taper lock bushing, which I used on my shaft off the end of that hydraulic motor up there to put my drive pulleys on. It needs to go on. Oh, and roXdawg in their infinite wisdom used an 18 spline coupler to connect this. So I got online. I can't find anything in the United States that's 18 spline. I found them, I assume in overseas somewhere, in Europe somewhere. I couldn't exactly tell where that was from, and they had them, but I didn't recognize the language or the money, and I didn't know how to send a credit card across the ocean to do all that. It wasn't Visa, it was some other bank. So anyway, the next step is to make this fit that. Yep, now we are getting ready. Being it's a taper lock, I fixed it so it can't collapse, and I'm going to machine. That's for 1.25 inches, and I need about 1.4 inch diameter hole, 1 7/16 inches basically. So we're gonna machine that out. Okay, this is the height of redneck world. The shaft on that new pump is an 18 spline metric shaft. You got to order them from overseas or somewhere that I couldn't figure out. So this is a way to make I took an old gear cutter I had that was kind of chewed up, that was about the right spline, and I hand ground it. Actually, I ground 2 of them, but ground it to the right spline. So, and I didn't have a broaching machine, or I can't even think of what it's called, but to cut these teeth. So what I did was set my milling machine up. Oh, take a look up here. This is to hold my milling machine from not turning as I'm cutting these teeth. So I basically got a one tooth broach, and then I index it 5/1000ths at a time to cut these teeth on here. So when the coronavirus is going on, you're have some time and you need some gears cut. It occupies a lot of time. And there is the last cut. I run about 3 strokes to unload the pressure on the boring bar. And that is how you make a poor man's splined clamp-on taper lock coupler for a rock crawler. And there is an 18 spline shaft taper lock coupler. I'll pull the shim out so it will squeeze together, and then a sprocket will go on there to drive it. So we're gaining. We'll have a rock crawler before long.